A Senate committee has now unveiled its own plan for funding the $1 billion transportation measure. It's different than the proposal passed by the House and appears to be aimed at sparing senators from appearing to support a big tax hike. We'll talk live with the chairman of the Senate Transportation Committee, Tommie Williams, tonight. Plus, a live report on all the activities under the Gold Dome from our team at the Capitol. Lawmakers starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Lawmakers. Tonight we're talking about two big items on the remaining agenda under the Gold Dome. First, the transportation funding bill, and second, a bill that would help families with autism to get insurance for their children. But before we start with Senator Tommie Williams, Pat St. Clair has tonight's Capitol Report. Pat?
Well, Bill, as you mentioned, transportation is on the move today at the state capitol. The Senate Transportation Committee voted yes on major changes to the billion-dollar transportation bill already approved by the House. Among other changes, the Senate version would allow local cities and counties to collect sales taxes on motor fuel without restrictions on how local officials can use the money. Under the House version, the local option sales taxes would remain, but money collected from motor fuel would have to be used for transportation. During the hearing, committee chairman Senator Tommie Williams told Senator Frank Ginn that local governments need the flexibility to put local option sales tax issues before local voters.
You can actually wear out your welcome with the voters out there, and if they say no, which they resoundingly said no in some districts, and some they didn't. Yours was fairly close, I think.
It was very close.
Then let the county commissioners decide if they think they can get the votes, and let them put it on the ballot rather than us saying, all of you are going to have to do it. That was part of the problem the last time. We set it up where it happened all across the state at the very worst time in a very heated political environment.
A statewide referendum on what's known as TIA, the Transportation Investment Act, was on the ballot almost 2 years ago, but it was defeated in all but 3 regions of the state. Bill, we know Senator Williams is one of your guests on the show tonight, and he can, of course, explain what happened at the committee hearing and what happens next. Representative Tyrone Brooks of Atlanta is a longtime civil rights activist, and after 35 years, one of the longest-serving lawmakers at the Capitol. Nearly 2 years ago, Brooks was indicted by a federal grand jury and charged with misusing nearly $1 million in charitable funds. Brooks, who has pleaded not guilty, is set to go on trial on those charges next month. In our extended interview with the veteran lawmaker, he talked about his passions and his future plans. But we begin with those fraud charges, which he believes are politically motivated because of his investigation into Morse Ford Bridge lynching in Georgia back in 1946.
We made it plain when we were attacked 2 years ago that it's connected to the Morse Ford Bridge massacre. After 1 year of investigative work, Buddy Nix brought his team in, including Vernon Keenan, who heads the GBI now. The first thing he said to me was, Tyrone, we're honored to be on this case, but I want you to know something. This massacre in Monroe never would have occurred without the active participation of law enforcement. And he said it never would have been covered up all of these years. No one has ever been prosecuted because of the active participation and coercion of law enforcement. Now, the closer we get to exposing those families, we're going to be stepping on the toes of those in law enforcement today whose relatives were on that bridge in 1946, either as participants in the massacre or as spectators. So we found a direct connection between that attack on us, because I say it's us, it's not just me, and what's going on in Walton County, Monroe. That's why we want federal hearings. If we don't get federal hearings to expose all of this, I don't think we'll ever solve it.
Let's talk about voting rights. That's something you had a news conference, and maybe a lot of people have forgotten or don't really realize what's going on and what happened with that Supreme Court ruling.
Right. The point of that news conference was to connect the dots between Monroe and Selma, to talk about all that we've won, all that we've gained, but still we don't have a Voting Rights Act today because it's been suspended by the U.S. Supreme Court. The energy that we saw in Selma, we want to move it forward to D.C. so that Congress will hear the call. And the next Voting Rights Act really ought to be national in scope, and it ought to be permanent. Should not be 25 years to extend it, but it ought to be a permanent act.
So what do you say, or what's your opinion of, we have so many young people who are taking to the streets now. Do you think that's a new wave of civil rights? And also, what do you say to the young people who say that their vote doesn't count, that it doesn't matter?
Well, I have been working with many of the students, particularly those students who rose up after the Ferguson incident in August, and the question to me was, Mr. Brooks, why do we keep fighting these old battles? You grew up in this as a kid, you went through this as a student, why do we have to deal with it in 2014? And I said to them, children, you have to deal with it forever. The struggle is forever. And on your watch today, you've got to not only deal with incidents like Ferguson and New York and Sanford, Florida, you've got to deal with voting. Because if you don't get involved in voting, if you don't participate in the political process, these issues will continue to haunt you, just like they did your grandparents and parents. So I tell them that on your watch today, you set your own agendas. You call on people like me and Andrew Young and John Lewis and Joseph Lowry, Charleston. You call on us for advice, but don't let us be your leaders. Don't let us get in front of you. We should be behind you, supporting you. But you have to be your own leaders, and you determine the issues. But voting is really the whole nucleus of everything you should be doing, because from the cradle to the grave, from the womb to the tomb, voting will impact your life.
We'll have more with Representative Brooks a little bit later in the program as he reveals his future plans and offers some sage advice for young civil rights advocates. That's it for now, Bill. We'll throw it back to you.
Thank you, Pat. You know, Tyrone Brooks, another example of just the great characters that are down there under the Gold Dome. He's been there for an awfully long time, obviously. All right, we'll listen for more later. There are a lot of big bills up for consideration at the Gold Dome this year, but the transportation bill is certainly one of the biggest, especially as far as Governor Deal is concerned, and leaders of the Senate and the House for that matter. The House approved HB 170 on March 5th, but now the Senate has taken its shot at the legislation, and there's definitely some politicking to be done to resolve several key points in which they diverge with the House. Joining me to talk about it tonight, Senator Tommie Williams of Lyons. He's the head of the Senate Transportation Committee, and Greg Bluestein, political reporter for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Before we get into our conversation, you never have to wonder where Senator Vincent Fort stands on an issue of the day. And today, it's the evolving transportation bill. Fort says that HB 170 doesn't specifically designate funds for transit. And so he took a point of personal privilege today to express his concern about a proposed bond that's supposed to help. Let's listen.
I was shocked to learn that $100 million bond can only be used for state assets. It can, and the only state asset for transit is what? Greta. This is not about Metro Atlanta. They've got transit systems in Macon, transit systems in Augusta. They've got buses that run that need help. Bad minority business participation. Bad on transit, bad on taxes, raising taxes. Don't tell me it ain't a tax raise, it's a tax raise. HB 170 is a failure on a whole round of areas.
Vincent Fort addressing the Senate in a moment of personal privilege today. So let's talk about this right now. Senator Tommie Williams, chair of the Transportation Committee. So good to have you here, especially on the day that you've really unveiled all your plans for how you're going to fund the Transportation Initiative. And Greg Bluestein of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, it's a pleasure to have you here as well. Senator, first of all, let me give you a chance to respond to Vincent Fort. Is he correct that the only provision in this bill would allow Greta to be funded?
Absolutely not. There are transit programs all over the state. We're looking at all of them, but you know, we had a conversation with MARTA today about some of their expansion to areas where we have economic development, where where Mercedes is locating, where an insurance company is locating with a lot of employees. They're locating inside the perimeter or near the perimeter so they can have access to MARTA. We're talking to MARTA about part of this money going for economic development purposes. So it's just false.
Okay, so let's start talking about the differences between your bill and the House bill. But before we talk in specific detail, why you're both looking to come up with a way to raise about $1 billion+
That's right.
for this initiative. Just in a general way, in the overview, why does your bill or your funding mechanism differ from theirs?
Well, the first thing we wanted to do was make sure we were looking into our own house for money. You know, our current budget, is there any way we could divide the pie to give more money to DOT as well as future revenue? One of the things Florida did is they had a pay-as-you-grow program. So if you had any additional revenue coming in after the revenue estimate were collected, if you had additional revenue, we committed $250 million of that new revenue to go to debt reduction at DOT, which frees them up to spend money on projects rather than just paying off debt. We also committed the $180 million that comes from the 1 penny going from the legislature to DOT.
Penny in the gas tax.
That's $180 million. We also committed $200 million of bonds, 100 of which goes to transit and 100 goes to mainly bridges. We have over 1,500 bridges that are posted by DOT now for not carrying the weight that they were built to carry. We could spend everything we raised this year just making our bridges safe to travel on.
Greg, you know, I want to get you in the picture here. The conventional wisdom on some of this is that the Senate Republican caucus is a bit more conservative than the House caucus, and therefore Senator Williams has a good reason to want to protect his members from being seen as passing a tax increase of sorts. Yeah?
Which is why the excise tax in the senator's proposal is significantly lower than the House's proposal. But the question that remains is, will it reach that $1 billion sort of magic marker, the magic mark that everything is trying to reach?
And let's look at this very quickly, Senator. You can see it on the screen, too. So the House version of this calls for the 29.2 cent per gallon excise tax. We've talked a lot about that. You've lowered that to 24 cents per gallon. Is that because you want to protect your members against being viewed as pushing for a tax increase or voting for a tax increase?
Well, one thing it's not mentioned there is the House also went to 33.2 on diesel. We stayed at 24 across the board. What our goal is not to have the highest gas prices in the Southeast. We're already higher than South Carolina and Alabama. They're talking about raising gas prices, but we don't want to be higher than Florida and North Carolina and Tennessee. I mean, people travel through the state. We want them buying fuel in Georgia. So our goal in the Senate is to keep the prices as low as possible. Now, one of the things we did to help keep them low is go to an excise tax, which freezes the price. It doesn't allow for the price to run up. We also capped the locals so that when gas prices go higher, they can't have exponential growth in their sales tax. So we really believe that if fuel were to go to, say, $4, really before $4, our bill will be revenue neutral because of the savings at the upper end.
And another way you try to offset the lower gas taxes is by new fees on rental cars.
Yeah, let's look at those. Go ahead, keep talking, but let's look at them.
New fees on rental cars and a $25 user impact fee on cars and $10 for motorcycles. Can you talk a little bit why you went that route?
Well, we actually went a lot higher on trucks. Trucks, frankly, tear up the roads a lot more than cars, but we were trying to find a fee that was reasonable. And what happens with motor fuel, as cars get better gas per mileage, we get less money. The number of cars will continue to increase, so we're trying to find a source that increases over time and doesn't deplete over time.
So on one hand, you want to protect your members from being viewed as voting for a tax hike. How are your constituents going to react when they learn they're maybe under your plan going to be asked to pay $25 user fee for their vehicle? Are you worried about that at all?
Well, we always worry about how we tax the public. In fact, our goal is not what our members think, but what our people think. So in the long run, my goal is not to protect the corporations, the big corporations of the world, but it's that guy who's filling up his truck every week. And that's why we want to have the lowest gas prices in the Southeast. So we have a very minimal increase. Now, the $25 fee, that probably will hurt. I mean, we're going to have a reaction to that. But we're trying to find a source of money that doesn't deplete over time. It's I think, a minimal ask. If we're getting calls on it, and we'll make a decision whether that's included in the final version or not.
So Greg, what are you hearing from your work down at the Capitol? You reporting how the rental agencies responding to this $5 tax or fee that the senator's proposing here?
They're pushing back hard, as Senator knows, and they already are under city taxes in most cities. For instance, in Atlanta, the rental car fees have been used to help underwrite Phillips Arena for a while, for arena building. Is that right?
Right.
So I guess there's some debate about whether or not to lower it a little bit.
There is. We actually thought most of the rental car business in Georgia were people coming into the airport and renting a car that were not Georgians. We learned in testimony today or yesterday that actually 70% of the rental businesses are Georgians. So, as we proceed along the path of coming up with a final version, we get better testimony. Get a little more creative about the things we can and cannot do and how it affects the public. People get upset about where a bill is today, and that will not be the final version. But we're continuing to listen to people. But to tell you the truth, at the end of the day, we have got a serious problem in the state. We have not looked at DOT as a place to put state monies in the past because they had motor fuel tax. We can't do that anymore. So we're committing part of our current budget. And let me just say this. We're the lowest tax state in the nation on a per capita basis. We have the lowest debt per capita in the nation. That is something to be very proud of. But we don't have very much room. All of our agencies are struggling right now because we don't tax heavily. And our budget per capita is the lowest in the nation.
Senator, let me ask you about another issue that has risen to the surface, and that's the concern in the Black Caucus that there's not much minority contractor work available on road projects. It's one thing in the building industry, but in road projects, there's not much happening out there. Your bill doesn't address whether there should be some statutory provision on this, but are you sympathetic to that, and how do you think that can be addressed?
I'm sympathetic, but the truth of the matter is all of the federal money has minority contracting tied to it. And, the question we have is, does this make the prices go up? We're obviously concerned about the minority caucus and their position, but we already have it in the federal piece, and currently, almost all the projects have federal money tied to them. So we don't see it as a huge issue right now.
I'm curious also to hear more about the $25 user fees. Critics are already branding this as the return of the birthday tax that lawmakers fought so hard to remove a few years ago.
Well, it's not. Frankly, the ad valorem tax on cars was a ad valorem tax, a property tax. This is not a property tax. This is money that actually goes towards repairing the roads and furnishing the infrastructure that you drive your car on. So,
Senator, I have not heard anyone, either on your side of the building or on the House side, say that even though there are differences that they expected in the long run, you're not going to reach a satisfactory conclusion. There seems to be consensus that if it passes the House, you're going to, or rather the Senate, that you're going to end up with some kind of bill because it's so necessary. Do you agree with that?
I have got a great relationship with the House Transportation Chairman. He's from down in my area. And frankly, there's a good agreement that we have got to fix some of the problems that we have with transportation.
I don't mean to interrupt you, except we got to take a break here, but stay with us because we have a lot more we want to talk about, including your olive oil business, which is really fascinating. So lawmakers will be back in just a minute. We'll talk more with Senator Tommie Williams, but first, this.
Less than 24 hours to evacuate. there was a sea of people wanting to get out.
It was a terrible moral dilemma. Who goes and who gets left behind?
They looked up at the helicopters and I could see their eyes, desperate eyes.
This is 88.5 FM, Atlanta's news source for your news and information.
Good morning. Let's start the conversation. What's on your mind, Atlanta? We want to hear from you.
The news and information you've been looking for is here on 88.5.
From Peachtree City to Piedmont Park, from Norcross to Decatur, GPB Atlanta is the source for stories from your community.
All news, all information, all day.
It is our oldest enemy and perhaps our most feared. But what do we really know about cancer?
Make no mistake, this is one of the most significant human challenges in our history.
Now more than ever, there is reason for hope.
When you look at what's going on with cancer right now, it's stunning.
Cancer.
On this date, March 18, 1947, Georgia's infamous Three Governors affair came to a bitter end for Herman Talmadge. He grudgingly had to vacate the governor's office. Talmadge, the son of Eugene Talmadge, was chosen by the Georgia legislature to take his father's place when Eugene died a month after the election. But outgoing Governor Ellis Arnold refused to resign, and Lieutenant Governor Melvin Thompson believed that he had a strong claim on the office. In the end, Georgia Supreme Court sided with Thompson. Herman Talmadge did have his revenge. He beat Thompson in the 1948 special gubernatorial election. Boy, talk about great characters in Georgia politics. Herman Talmadge, really one of them. Welcome back to Lawmakers. I'm here tonight with Senator Tommie Williams, the chairman of the Transportation Committee. He's from Lyons. And Greg Bluestein with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. AJC Political Insider is a blog that he contributes to on a daily basis. Senator, very quickly, you were one of the co-authors of the Autism bill, which passed the Senate, which essentially says that for the first time, families with children with autism should be able to apply for health insurance for the needs of those children, right?
That's true. We have it in a state health benefit plan. All state employees that kids have autism get that. Most of the ERISA programs now, like Home Depot, et cetera, they Coke, Delta, they have it in their program.
Why is it important?
Because 1 out of 65 kids has autism, and for many of these kids, over half of these kids, there's actually a cure. The ABA therapy, this bill started with me when my niece had autism, got the therapy. She would have been in special ed all of her life. She is now functioning at the top of her class.
Okay, and this bill is getting some opposition. We're not going to show it right now because we're short on time, but David Ralston talked with me about this, and he says he thinks it's a penalty for small businesses.
I'm a small businessman. I've been buying insurance for 35 years for my employees. I want to buy a policy that covers something. Not just the cheapest policy, and it's the legislator's responsibility to determine what's in that policy, and autism, which is more prevalent than polio was, ought to be in that policy.
All right, we're going to watch that, Greg, play out. But we have very little time left, but we really, Greg Bluestein, need to talk briefly about this product. Terra Dolce, right? Am I saying that right, Senator? It is your olive oil, grown from your olive. You're now growing olives down in your farm in Lyons.
I am. There's a House member that's also growing in Southwest Georgia, and some other people are starting to grow. I started growing 5 years ago. My first harvest was after 3 years, and made some world-class oil, and so we're...
You won a gold medal for this olive oil last year at an international competition in New York City. Is that correct?
700 applicants from around the world, and so
now we just
I was
need
really
an Italian
proud of that.
restaurant at the Capitol.
I'm sorry?
We need an Italian restaurant at the Capitol.
Is this going to be one of the next big crops in Georgia, or is it too hard to grow olives
It's
here?
too early to tell. We don't, we have different climates in California and Texas have, and frankly, Europe and Tunisia and other parts of Africa. But we know one thing: we can grow really good quality oil. We had a real bad winter this year, so we don't know how the winter actually affects, but we got some new varieties to try and see how it works out, but we're excited about where it might go.
Well, my family happens to love olive oils, and I have to tell you, this is a great tasting olive oil. You've done a great job with this.
Well,
congratulations.
What Europe usually does is they keep their good oil and send us their second. So.
All right, I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you because we got to go back down to the Capitol where Pat St. Clair has more with Representative Tyrone Brooks.
Thank you very much.
Bill, we mentioned earlier that Representative Brooks is in his 35th year in the state legislature. As he looks back on his time here, he says it's passed quickly, but the years have been fruitful.
When I look back over those 35 years under the Gold Dome, I walk these halls, I walk the grounds, and I say, it doesn't seem like 35 years, but we've accomplished a great deal. I mean, I just think about introducing and passing the anti-terrorism law in 1983 at the request of Mr. John Dale Johnson and the NAACP. We passed that law to really crack down on racist, violent groups like the Ku Klux Klan and neo-Nazis. That was 83. Then we reformed welfare in 86. We created a program called Peach. But along the way, we were working to change the flag, and it took us 20 years. I had to carry that legislation. House Bill 16, Governor Roy Bond signed that bill on January 31st, 2001. After a 20-year battle, we changed the flag. We took the old Confederate battle emblem off, and the new flag you see flying today is the flag that we designed. I'm so proud of that. I remember when we worked to get more African-American judges in Georgia. We had to file a suit against the state in '88. We settled that case with Governor Zell Miller. Governor Miller signed the agreement. I signed the agreement. Attorney General Michael Bowers and my lawyer, Attorney Lachlan McDonald, on behalf of our plaintiff team. So when you look around the state and you see all these African-American judges and all of these circuits throughout Georgia, we say that's our work. We're proud of that. To diversify our judicial branch of government and change the makeup of the Judicial Nominating Commission, the Judicial Qualifications Commission, and create a whole different environment in that judicial branch. That was a huge, huge victory for us. Looking at legislation to clean up the code in terms of Jim Crow laws, statutory and constitutional, we did that in 2005. There was a whole package of bills that I had to carry with my colleague Mike Cohn from Gwinnett County, and we changed and cleaned out the Georgia code to remove all of those Jim Crow laws. And just a few years ago, of course, you remember Governor Nathan Deal removed Tom Watson from the front of the Capitol 2 years ago. And after he removed Tom Watson, James Salzer from the AJC called me and he said, well, who do you want there now? And I said, who else but Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? And lo and behold, we introduced legislation in December of 2013 to bring Dr. King a statue to these grounds. The legislation passed, the governor signed it last May. So in a few months, you're going to see Martin Luther King Jr.'s statue on the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and Capitol Avenue. So the Moores Ford case should be my last civil rights project. The Martin Luther King Jr. statue should be my last legislative project. That's my goal, to leave here and focus on the Moores Ford project, close out the case, and build a Moores Ford Museum Educational Learning Center.
Bill, we asked Brooks if he will run for re-election. He says that's unlikely, and he is ready to pass the mantle on to the next generation of leaders.
All right, Pat, thank you so much for that profile of Tyrone Brooks. All right, Day 39, what day 31 is down, just 9 more to go until sine die. We're back tomorrow with a closer look at the bid for cityhood among a number of DeKalb County communities. How might that affect budgets, pensions, and the other costs of doing business? We'll take a closer look. In the meantime, stay in touch with us on social media. Email us at lawmakers@gpb.org. Thanks for joining us tonight. And there's Tommie Williams, Terra Dolce Olive Oil, one last time. Have a great evening.
This is a GPB original production.